Hello anime and manga fans, I'm Corey from SuperKamiGuru9000, and this is my review of Bleach chapter 464. And this is just a quick little reminder to us, some of our viewers, our Bleach review, or my Bleach review, is going to be out on time today, but our Naruto review is still going to be coming out on the same day, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, probably mid-afternoon, so make sure to look out for that. Both me and Christian will be working on that. So, for those of you wishing that Kenpachi was going to be able to continue his battle this chapter, you'd be a little bit disappointed, and frankly, I'm just a tad bit too, and the main reason is because his whole battle just sort of ended quickly, you know, nothing really came of it. In this chapter it begins, you see that Giriko, who had just been cut in half by Kenpachi, is pretty much gone, maybe dead for the count, and it's kind of hard to tell at this point, but that's just because this chapter is sort of trying to give the other side characters a little more limelight, and we still don't know what's going to happen with Kenpachi. But we can see here that Giriko goes down hard, and Kenpachi is still standing and still being a complete badass. But before he can actually finish anything, we get to see that Yachiru is there, his lieutenant. And we haven't seen her in a long time. Hell, we've never really even seen her fight. So hopefully she'll actually be able to do something, you know, because I still don't believe that Giriko is dead yet. I believe that, you know, maybe Yachiru will be able to help out in the fight in some form or fashion. And she does have some slightly new hairdo to her, and she even has like a weird little like crossbones like thing on her hair, and it, you know, she's as adorable as ever. Same old Yachiru that we've all been used to. So after getting to see Kenpachi again, we then cut again to Ichigo, who is continuing his battle with Ginjo. Ginjo's being kind of an asshole, and he's transported them to Karakura Town. We've never seen a fight happen here before, have we? But he basically brings him there because he's like, I feel that you'd be more comfortable here. We'd be able to have a much better fight. But luckily for Ichigo, Ishida is there as well, and he's going to be able to help him out. And Ishida brings up a very interesting notion that when they first went to Soul Society in order to rescue Rukia, when they left, Ishida noticed that Ichigo had his substitute Shinigami badge, and he even thought to himself, maybe there are other ones out there, and you know, if they are, where could they be? But he never seemed to bring this up to Ichigo. This is simply plot convenience here, I think. But it's an interesting way to sort of, you know, bring the storyline together in a little bit. And Ishida also starts bringing up the fact that, you know, Soul Society themselves may not even have known about these guys, you know, and if they did, they may not have told Ichigo, or they may have told Ichigo. And this is just another whole thing with Soul Society. Should we really trust them? Are they good? Are they bad? Blah, 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 blah. You know, I think they're good. I think they have good intentions, at least. But it's interesting to see this dynamic between Ishida and Ichigo again, because they're like brothers that kind of get along, but still fight all the time. And it's great because Ichigo actually kicks Ishida right in the ass. it's pretty funny looking. And he asks him to help him out in the battle. And they both get ready to fight Ginjo. But before that can even finish, we cut away to another battle that is going on. If you were wondering what the little ice guy was doing, otherwise known as Hitsugaya, he's fighting against the PSP kid who happens to be firing these 8-bit missiles at him that Hitsugaya is just cutting in half. And that's pretty much all that happens with these two in this chapter. They have a little bit of dialogue, but it's nothing too crazy. It's just Hitsugaya is kind of annoyed at the fact that he has to fight against one of the ones that he considers lazy. Hell, even Rukia gets to fight this week. Unfortunately, it's not against some badass swordsman or anything. It's against the army of stuffed animals that Riruka is sending after. And of course, it makes perfect sense. Let's make the two females fight each other. Riruka and Rukia fighting at the same time. Be a lot cooler if it were in a mud pit. What's displayed in the battle between Rukia and Riruka so far, though, is pretty funny, actually. I love the way that Rukia is basically just destroying everything, like, in her path. And, you know, she's kind of super confident about the whole thing, but Riruka's just sort of hanging out to the side, and she's like, this is way too easy. Should I just shoot her or something? And that's kind of the way their thing ends. And of the parts in the chapter, it's probably the funniest stuff to read. But I think it's incredibly ironic that all these like hilarious stuffed animals are attacking Rukia, because they look exactly like the illustrations that she always draws to explain the things to Ichigo. It's really goofy and kind of surreal. But this week your badassery comes in the form of Byakuya going up against none other than Tsukishima. And how fitting is that? These two are so similar to each other in some ways, and at the same time completely different in how they work. And, you know, that's pretty much what the chapter comes to an end here. We can see here they're getting ready to finally start their fight, and Byakuya is being his former self, where he's just super confident about things. He's ready to just destroy anything, and you know he's not going to lose to Tsukishima, although if he does, it will be a complete twist. But it's really cool because at the end of the chapter, he's basically berating Tsukishima just right there into his face. And Tsukishima himself is like, oh, you think you're so confident. And he actually tries to swing at Byakuya, but Byakuya doesn't even lift his hand. You know, his sword, it turns into the bladed flower petals that just deflects his sword and everything. And the chapter ends with a really badass shot of Byakuya just getting ready to throw down with Tsukishima. And honestly, of all the fights, you know, I just didn't expect for that one to happen. But it makes perfect sense, and it's just really, really cool. I wanted Ichigo to fight against Tsukishima, but it looks like at this point it's going to be Ginjo and Ichigo. You know, they have more history anyway. It's just, Tsukishima has just always been seen as, I guess, the guy behind the curtain. You know, the guy who's been pulling all the strings. So I guess that's why I was kind of hoping that would happen. But I'd love to see Byakuya just whip the crap out of this guy. But even though we've seen all these other guys, there's still a few members of Soul Society we haven't actually seen in battle yet. And I'm sure we'll get to check them out next week. But otherwise, review score this week, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Now, that is a pretty good score, and the only reason I'm not going to give it that is just because, again, they love to skip to all these different characters and show them off, but I wish they had a little bit more consistency in how they did it. I wish that all of the Soul Society guys were featured this week. Instead, this is probably going to be expanded into other chapters. But I know why the author is doing this. It keeps you interested. It keeps you constantly reading, as opposed to just reading a single fight each time. But at the same time, I wish more was given. Like, I felt that the whole Hitsugaya thing in this chapter was sort of just immediately done quicker than some of the other guys. Obviously, my favorite part of the chapter was the whole Byakuya and Tsukishima stuff. Just because that's such a cool battle. I mean, it's going to be really, really cool to see how that happens and what Tsukishima is going to be able to do to counter against Byakuya, who is, you know, super powerful. He's like a Shinigami on crack all the time. So I can't wait to see how that's going to happen. But I'd like to know what you guys thought. What did you think of this week's chapter? And of all the Shinigami featured this week, which one was your favorite? And let me know why with your comments below. And, well, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. SuperKamiGuru9000, out. Do you like Bleach? Do you like Rukia? Do you like Riruka? Do you like Rukia and Riruka fighting in a mud pit? Then give this video a thumbs up.